Okay, so I want you to picture something for me. Just three items sitting on a shelf.
Right.
You've got a mommy book, a baby book, and a Nook book.
Right. Sounds like the inventory for a very specific pastel-colored section of a bookstore.
It really does. I mean, it sounds like we are about to discuss, I don't know, potty training or maybe the best rhymes for bedtime.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this and your thumb is sort of hovering over the skip button because you think we've suddenly pivoted the show into a parenting advice column, do not press that button.
Please don't. Because the terminology is, well, it's deceptive. It's intentionally disarming, almost childlike. But the framework underneath is incredibly sophisticated.
Right. The source material we're digging into today uses these terms to describe something that has nothing to do with children's literature and everything to do with how a healthy adult human brain functions. These are not physical books.
No. They're what the text calls inner reference spaces.
Hmm.
And that's really the core definition we have to start with. They're defined as three distinct modes of regulation, care, and presence that exist inside a healthy human system.
Inner reference spaces. I like that term. It sounds almost architectural. It implies we have these rooms inside our heads that we can just walk into.
That's a great way to visualize it. Think of it as mental architecture. The argument is that a fully functioning human has access to these three specific rooms. But the problem, and this is why we're doing this deep dive, is that most of us, well, we've lost the keys.
Or we boarded up the doors years ago. You know, the text makes a really bold claim right at the start. These aren't roles we perform for other people. It's not like I'm doing mommy book for my kids. These are internal states I access for myself.
Precisely. This is all about self-regulation. It's about how you relate to your own internal world. When you can access these spaces, life becomes coherent, and when you can't, it just feels brittle.
So let's audit the house. We need to break down these three spaces, see what they do, and figure out why most of us are locked out. First up, mommy book. Now, I have to be the skeptic here for a second. Calling an internal psychological state mommy book feels loaded.
It is incredibly loaded. For a lot of people, the word mommy brings up baggage, not safety.
Exactly. So does this mean you need to have a good relationship with your biological mother to even use this framework?
No, not at all. And that's a crucial point. We need to strip the biography out of it completely. In this framework, mommy book is just a technical term for the record of safety.
The record of safety.
It isn't a person. It's an archive.
Yeah.
It's the part of your neurology that holds the capacity to soothe, to protect, and importantly, to provide structure.
Okay. The source lists the specific voice of the space. And I have to say, reading it, it felt very different from the voice I usually have running in my head.
I bet.
My internal voice is usually a project manager with a clipboard who's like always running behind schedule.
That's the default for most modern adults, isn't it?
Yeah. But the mommy book voice says things like, "You're allowed," or "I've got you." And the big one for me was, "You don't have to prove anything right now."
Let's just pause on that for a second. You don't have to prove anything right now. I mean, that is a radical statement in our culture.
It is.
We are conditioned to believe that our existence is justified by our output. If you aren't producing, you aren't valid.
But it feels dangerous, though. If I tell myself, "You don't have to prove anything," am I just letting myself off the hook? Is this just a fancy way of giving myself permission to be lazy?
And that's the number one fear people have about self-compassion. The thought is, if I stop beating myself up, I'll just stop moving forward.
Yeah.
But the source is very nuanced here. It says mommy book holds structure without threat.
Structure without threat. That sounds like an oxymoron.
It does to us.
Yeah.
Because we usually only experience structure with threat. Finish this report or you're fired or be nicer or no one will love you. That's all structure driven by anxiety.
Right.
Mommy book provides boundaries that are protective, not punitive.
So what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it's like the difference between a fence on a cliff edge and a cage. A fence says, hey, don't go past this point because you'll get hurt. That's mommy book. A cage says, don't move because you're bad. That's the internal critic.
The text also lists some key actions for this space. It says mommy book soothes without dismissing. That's a really tricky balance.
It is.
Usually when we try to soothe ourselves, we say things like, "Oh, it's not a big deal, just get over it."
Right, which is just dismissal. That's basically gaslighting yourself. Mommy book acknowledges the pain first. I see that this hurts. And then it offers comfort. It doesn't pretend the pain isn't real.
It also corrects without shaming.
This is the superpower. Most of us have this internal aggressor that corrects us by attacking our identity. You idiot, why did you say that in the meeting?
Oh, yeah, I know that voice.
We all do. Mommy Book corrects the behavior while holding the person safe. Okay, that comment didn't land so well. Let's figure out why. You're still a good professional, you're still safe, but let's change the strategy next time.
It separates the data from the worth.
Exactly. And because of that, the source notes that Mommy Book does not panic at emotion.
Which is huge, because I feel like I panic at my own emotions all the time. If I feel sad, I immediately panic that I'm depressed. If I feel angry, I panic that I'm a bad person.
That panic is a lack of containment. When Mommy Book is online, it's the steady hand on the wheel. It knows the car is shaking, but it knows the wheels are still on the road. It doesn't rush the process. It doesn't say, hurry up and feel better. It says, I can sit with you while you feel this.
And the summary for this whole section says that when this state is present, decisions feel supported and rest feels permitted. The term it uses is internal reliability.
Internal reliability.
Yeah.
That means you aren't walking a tightrope without a net. You are the net.
Okay, so that's the container. That's the safety. Now let's talk about what lives inside that container. Space number 2, baby book.
The record of needs.
Again, the name, baby book. It sounds helpless. It sounds dependent.
It is dependent.
Yeah.
And that's actually the point. This part of the system isn't the executive. It's the raw biological and emotional feedback loop.
The source says it speaks through sensation, hunger, tiredness, joy, overwhelm, curiosity.
Notice the shift. Mommy Book uses language. I've got you, baby book. It doesn't really use words. It uses the body. It's that knot in your stomach. It's the heaviness behind your eyes. It's that vibrating feeling in your chest when you're excited.
There's a line in the text here that I must have circled like 5 times.
Yeah.
It contains no strategy, only truth.
That is the most critical distinction in this entire framework. I mean, think about how much of your adult life is spent on strategy.
Constantly.
How do I phrase this email so my boss doesn't get mad?
Yeah.
How do I act at this party so I look cool? We are constantly calculating.
We're spinning the truth to get a certain result.
Exactly. Baby Book is incapable of spin. It cannot calculate. It just reports the raw data. I am tired. I am scared. I don't like this person. It doesn't argue, and it doesn't justify.
The source mentions it knows when something hurts before language forms.
And we've all felt that, right? You walk into a room or you meet a person, and your stomach just drops. You don't have a logical reason for it yet.
Yeah.
You can't write a thesis paper on why this person is dangerous. But your baby book has already logged the threat.
So here's the problem I see. As adults, we are basically trained to ignore that. If I have a gut feeling that a project is a bad idea, but the money is good, my logical brain just overrides the baby book and says, shut up, we're doing it.
We try to out-argue our own physiology. We use logic to invalidate our needs. We say, well, I shouldn't be tired, I only worked 8 hours, or I shouldn't be sad, my life is good. We are constantly telling the baby book that its data is wrong.
But the text says baby book does not make decisions. It just signals.
And thank goodness for that. You do not want baby book driving the car.
No.
If baby book made all the decisions, you would scream at anyone who annoyed you, you'd eat cake for every meal, and you'd never, ever go to the dentist. It signals the need. It doesn't execute the plan.
It operates on the trust that someone is listening.
And that someone is the mommy book.
Mm.
This is where the whole system connects. Baby book signals overwhelm. And mommy book hears it and says, okay, noted, I hear you. We need to slow down.
And what happens when that line is dead? When we just keep hitting mute on the baby book?
The source is clear. When baby book is ignored, distress escalates. It's the fire alarm principle. If you ignore a smoke detector, it doesn't just stop beeping, it gets louder. Or the fire spreads until the whole house burns down.
And then we have a breakdown.
Right. A breakdown is often just the baby book finally screaming loud enough to stop the whole machine. But the text also says, when baby book is listened to, the system settles.
It doesn't even need the problem fixed instantly, does it?
No. And that's the magic of it. It just needs acknowledgement. Just saying to yourself, okay, I am really angry right now, and that makes sense, allows your whole physiology to drop down a gear.
So we have the safety, which is a mommy book.
Yeah.
We have the truth baby book. Now we have the third space, the Nook book.
The quiet corner of the system.
This one sounds the nicest, honestly. The space where nothing is required. But again, playing the skeptic, nothing is required, sounds an awful lot like wasting time.
In a productivity cult, rest always looks like waste. But we have to reframe this. Nookbook is the sanctuary. It is the place of pause, of retreat, and restoration.
The text focuses a lot on the concept of digestion here.
Yes. And we aren't just talking about food, we're talking about digesting life. Think about how much input you take in every single day.
Oh, it's a fire hose.
It is.
Mm.
News, social media, work problems, emotional spikes, traffic noise, just a constant fire hose of data.
And we just keep stuffing it in.
We stuff it in, but we rarely metabolize it. We need a space where we stop taking things in and just let the system process what's already there. That happens in the notebook.
It says here, time slows, thought softens, attention rests.
Notice that word softens. In Mommy Book, thought is structured and protective. In Baby Book, thought is pure sensation. In Nook Book, thought is drifting. It's unstructured.
Right.
This is where daydreaming happens.
But here's the most important clarification the source makes, and I want to make sure we get this right. Nookbook is not isolation. It is refuge. Because from the outside, they can look exactly the same, just me sitting alone in a room.
They look identical, but they feel completely different. Isolation is defensive. You hide because you feel unsafe or ashamed, or because the world is just too much. It feels cold. It feels like cutting yourself off.
Right?
Refuge is restorative. It's stepping out of the storm to warm up. It's a choice you make from self-care, not from fear.
So I have a question about this. Is doom scrolling on your phone Nookbook?
Absolutely not.
But I'm lying on the couch. I'm not working.
But you are flooding your brain with high-intensity input. You're comparing yourself to others. You're reading terrible news. That is not rest. That is numbing. Numbing is an attempt to turn off the baby book signal. Nookbook is about low input. It's staring out the window. It's a hot bath. It's doodling.
The text mentions this is where play and imagination happen naturally.
Right. You can't force play. You can't just schedule innovation time at 2 p.m. and demand a breakthrough. Creativity is a byproduct of a rested system. It emerges when all the pressure is off.
The commentary on this section says, without Nookbook, systems burn out. With it, resilience returns.
Burnout isn't just about working too hard. It's about the lack of recovery. If you are always on, always performing with Mommy Book, or always feeling with Baby Book, but never resting in Nookbook, the machinery just overheats.
So we have the three spaces: safety, truth, rest. Now let's get to the integration part. How do these things actually talk to each other? Because having three separate rooms doesn't really help if all the doors are locked.
This is where we see the healthy human system really come into action. It's all about the synergy.
The text uses the word coherence.
Coherence is when the loop is closed. A need arises. That's your Baby Book. It's met with care and structure. That's Mommy Book. And then the system is allowed to recover. That's Nookbook.
Okay, let's play this out. Give me a real-world scenario. Let's say I have a massive presentation tomorrow and I'm freaking out.
Okay. In a disconnected system where the rooms are all locked, here's what happens. You feel the fear from Baby Book, but you just ignore it. You tell yourself, don't be a baby, just work harder.
Which is the internal critic, not Mommy Book.
Exactly. So you grind until 2 in the morning, eating junk food, hating yourself. You get 0 Nookbook time. The result, you're exhausted, you're brittle, and the presentation probably suffers.
Okay, now give me the coherent version.
In a coherent system, the fear comes up. Baby Book signals. I am terrified I'm going to fail. Mommy Book steps in immediately and says, I hear you. It makes sense you're scared. This is a big deal. But you are prepared. We are going to review the slides one more time, and then we are stopping at 9 p.m. You are allowed to sleep.
And then?
And then you actually stop. You go to the Nookbook.
Wow.
You disconnect.
Yeah.
You let your brain settle so that when you wake up, you actually have access to all your faculties.
It sounds so much nicer.
The source says life feels safer, softer, clearer, and more humane.
But there's a line in the text that addresses the fear I think a lot of us have. This is not regression. It is integration. Because I think we worry that if we embrace terms like baby book, we're basically admitting we aren't adults.
We have a really warped view of adulthood. We think being a grown-up means killing the need for safety and killing the need for rest. We think it means being a robot.
Yeah.
But the source argues that true adulthood, resilient adulthood, requires access to all of these. You cannot be fully functional if you are at war with your own biology.
And here is maybe the most hopeful part of the entire document for me. Adults do not lose these capacities, they lose access to them.
Meaning you aren't broken. You don't have to go out and buy a Mommy Book. It's already wired into your neurology. It's just sitting there waiting for the lights to be turned on.
The phrase it uses is waiting for attention, not belief.
That's such an important distinction. You don't have to believe in this like it's some kind of philosophy or religion. You just have to turn your attention toward it. You have to give yourself permission to just check the rooms.
Permission. It really seems to be the key to the whole house.
It is. Permission to be safe. Permission to feel messy truths. Permission to do absolutely nothing.
So we've toured the property. We've seen the Mommy Book. That internal record of safety that provides structure without any threat.
The voice that says, I've got you.
We've seen the baby book, the record of needs, the honest, strategy-free truth of the body that just wants to be heard.
The signal that keeps us real.
And we've seen the Nook book, the sanctuary of rest where we can digest life and rebuild our resilience.
The space where we become human again.
As we wrap up this deep dive, the expert commentary poses a question that I think we should leave everyone with. It asks us to start looking at these as, abstract concepts and start looking at them as immediate necessities.
It's really a diagnostic question. If we accept that these states are always present and are simply waiting for us, which one is waiting most patiently for you right now?
Which room is locked?
Exactly. Is it the need for safety? Do you need to stop attacking yourself and just start hearing you're allowed? Is it the need for truth? Is there a sensation in your body you've been ignoring for weeks because it's inconvenient?
Or is it the need for rest? Do you need to step into the Nook book, close the door, and let the world spin without you for just 20 minutes?
Which key do you need to turn today?
That's the question. Thanks for exploring the architecture with us.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.